Happy Sunday, everyone. So I am live yet again. Um, just a couple of heads up. If you can't understand me, please come back after the live, turn on your closed captions. And I did play around with my other videos yesterday, and they did come up correctly. So please, if you cannot understand me, I completely understand if you have to leave and come back. That would be greatly appreciated. Another thing is, please, before we get started, please like this video, subscribe, share this video out. I have shared this in a group, and also on Reddit and on my Facebook profile. So again, if you can't understand me, just come back and watch it on the replay with the closed caption. I'm going to go to my YouTube channel just to see if how we're doing. Let's see here. I want to pull up my video. Okay. Any comments while I'm live. I do see that there is one person here besides me. So thank you. I wish that whoever that is can comment so that I know that you're here. Okay. So we're going to do 2 episodes today. The first is season 1, episode 2, and this is called Community. Let's see. Let me pull up Tubi so I can get the name of the episode correctly. Sorry, next time I'll be a little bit more prepared with the episode name, so just bear with me 1 second. Okay, so episode 2 is Community Spirit, and this episode starts off with the Dallas theme song, and it goes into where JR is talking to one of his workers within the oil industry, and they're talking about doing offshore drilling at KnotsLanding, which, if you didn't know, is where Gary and Val moved to. So this makes the plot very real and very a way for JR to come to KnotsLanding and kind of start to intertwine the different episodes. So we then turn to KnotsLanding, where Valene is running across the beach, which is her favorite thing to do of all time, is to run across the beach and just to get air. And then she watches Eric as he is surfing. And then Eric comes to shore and he talks to Val. And then all of a sudden, and he offers to teach Val how to swim. Because we learn in the first couple minutes that Val does not know how to swim. So I thought that was really sweet of the writers to kind of put that in there. Just as a side note, I don't know if you all are aware of this, but the writers did put in a lot of the actresses and actors' background. So with Miss Van Ark, what they did is they included a lot of the exercises, a lot of the running, a lot of the exercises at home when she's, writing the book and she's exercising. So that her running across the beach will be a constant throughout the whole series. So all of a sudden they see a boat, a weird kind of looking boat, in the ocean, and so Eric decides to go out to the boat and see what's going on. Later come to find out that they are oil people looking at where to start drilling offshore. And um, and then we go to where Val talks to Gary, and Richard says, hold on. Oh. And Richard says he knew it all along. So basically, he thinks that Gary has something to do with the fact that the oil is Gary's fault. Karen is having a meeting at the community center regarding this, and she wants to put together a rally to stop the offshore drilling. And Karen asked Sid if he thought that, or if he thought that maybe Gary knew about this, and Sid was like, no, I don't think so. But she kept on pressuring him, and Sid keeps on telling her, no, I don't think so. Let's see. And then we jump to the meeting. Val and Gary decide to go to the meeting. And then the oil company representative did not show up yet. He was late. And then we come to find out he does show up, and then he come to find out that, hold on one second, let me go back to comments. Okay. We come to find out that the oil representative knew about, or knew Laura from the past. We don't know how she knew Laura, but we find out that Chip Todman and Laura have a history. And then they walk into the meeting together, and Laura tells Richard that they used to work together. At the meeting, Karen has a lot of questions regarding drilling, and they want an engineer. And Gary also had a lot of questions, which really brought up the fact that Karen wants Gary to be the representative and to help lead the rally so that they can stop the oil from being drilled in the ocean. However, Gary doesn't want that. He just wants to help by maybe find more information. And so Karen gets a rally together to kind of stop the offshore drilling, and they want the community to be involved in it. And the rep calls, then we find out that the representative calls JR after the meeting, and JR said, and the representative said, oh, there was a Mr. Newman at the meeting. And JR was surprised and said that, yes, that is my brother. And JR said that he thought that he would stay away from the oil business. And then Gary did decide to become the advisor for the rally and to help in any way that he can. Val tells Karen about the oil business and their background and why they actually moved to KnotsLanding and all that good stuff. Which I would put, if I were Val, I would want to put that behind me as well, because the Texas Jews are not the best people. And then all of a sudden, JR shows up at Val and Gary's, and he hits on Karen. Karen tells JR about the rally, and then JR ends up going into the house and has coffee with Val. Val calls Gary to tell him to come home. However, and then Val tells JR that she wants him to leave them alone, and that they're just trying to build a new life in KnotsLanding. Karen tells Laura that she thinks that Gary and Val's marriage is rock solid. However, we all will learn later that that's not the truth. Laura does not want to deal with Chip when he called and asked her to come over, and then Laura doesn't want to tell Karen about what is going on. Karen and Laura are at Laura's house is doing the posters. And then enters Gary at Val and Gary's house. JR ends up asking for alcohol, and Val says, "No, we don't have any alcohol. You know this. We're not gonna sit here and tempt Gary with alcohol and have that in the house. I mean, come on, JR. What are you doing? What are you doing? Are you really trying to mess with your brother and try to, decide that, it's okay to ask for alcohol when he's an alcoholic trying to stay sober, because as we know, it will be hard for Gary to stay sober. JR tells Gary and Val that he does not want the project to be held up or delayed, and he threatens Gary and Val. And then it jumps to Richard and Laura's house, and Richard comes home and asks about J.R. Ewing and their son Jason. This is the first instance where we learn that Richard is not happy with his job, and this will be a recurring theme throughout the first couple of seasons where Richard is just unhappy. He just doesn't want to be a lawyer. I think his heart was in somewhere else. And then he wants Laura to call Chip to help get him the Petrolux account because he needs a break. He feels like his job has went down. He needs a break. He needs something else to do. And then we jump back to Val and Gary's house, and JR asks about how much Gary makes, and Valerie makes JR a tuna fish sandwich, ironically. Gary tells JR that he makes enough money to get by, and then JR has to throw in a quip about their mama buying this house for them. Let's see if I can comment. Okay. I just wanted to leave a comment at the in the YouTube on my YouTube chat because I'm not seeing comments, so I just wanted to leave a comment. There it is. Yay! Okay. So, and again, JR ends up threatening Val and Gary, tells Gary that he can break Gary again. The threat that he uses is about Val and Gary's marriage, which Lucy is not aware of yet at this time. And then we jump to JR coming out of Val and Gary's house with her and Karen. This is one of the best things ever. Karen tells him to buzz off after that in a little bit. Karen, Sid, Gary, and Val try to come up with a plan to stop the so they do come up with okay. And decides to go have lunch with JR after all. It looks like my StreamYard is freezing up, so I'm just trying to. If you're there, can you put a 1 in chat if you can hear me? Or if this is Vicky, can you message me and let me know that you can hear me? My StreamYard is not working. I'm not sure if I have to go back and come back in. So anyways, Laura goes to see Chip about getting the account for Richard, and they end up sleeping together. That's implied. Okay, perfect. Thanks for Vicky. Karen does end up going to see JR at his hotel room to kind of keep him distracted from the fact that Gary is gonna go to the office and take part and look in JR's file. And then that's the next scene. And however, Val is waiting for him in the car, and the police ask Val to move it because she can't park there she can't stand there. There's no parking allowed. Just like no parking in baseball. There's no parking allowed. And then Gary leaves to go look for Val. Then we are back at JR's hotel room. Karen fakes flirts with JR. And I kind of wonder if this is a little bit of where Karen or Michelle Lee starts to ad lib a little bit. Because we learned in later seasons with Kevin Dobson that they did ad lib. Sorry, my cat is in a menace. That Kevin Dobson and Michelle Lee did ad lib a lot of their scenes. So, but we'll talk about that once we get to season 4. I'm just gonna do one episode at a time, just because there's so much background in there that I've done a lot of research on those episodes, just as I'm watching them. So when we get to season 4, episode 1, that will be just one episode going forward. And I think once we pass season 9, we'll go back to 10 episodes. No, not 10 episodes. We'll go back to 2 episodes of our stream. But right now, I'm just trying to get through season 1 and through 3 as quickly as possible, just so that we can get to the Karen and Mac of it all. Because that's my obsession, is Karen and Mac. So anyway, Karen is fake flirting with JR and tries to keep him distracted. Gary ends up calling Karen at JR's hotel room, and JR is a little bit, well, more than a little bit annoyed. He asks Karen if she told anyone that she was there. Karen was like, well, why? And then JR hands Karen the phone. And it's Gary on the phone telling Karen that he got the information. And then all of a sudden, poof, Karen decides that once it's over, then she's going to leave, and JR is none too pleased about the situation. He figures out quickly that it was a setup. And he again also threatens Karen, saying that I can hurt you just as much as I can hurt Gary. Which I think is a total JR move. And let's be honest, I did have a crush on JR. I like the dad voice. I don't know if anybody else did, but I did have a crush on JR. But again, sorry about the noise. My cat is ruffling papers. So it's kind of it's kind of annoying, but we'll deal with it. So JR goes to talk to Gary and Val and threatens again to tell Lucy about their marriage. And then we jump to the rally. This is near the end of the episode. We jump to the rally at the beach, and JR confronts Gary about the files that he took from the office. And Gary kind of tells him what he found. Like, there is places that you can drill on offshore, like, or on land, as opposed to drilling in the water. And however, JR tells him that, that's going to cost money. That's going to cost extra money. However, Gary says, well, you can live with that. You'll make it up eventually. But, it's just, the JR wants money. JR wants money. He wants the power. He wants everything. Richard wants Laura to help him meet JR. So Laura distracts Chip by getting him away from JR. And then that's when we see how Chip really was with Laura and how their relationship or their encounters have always been volatile. And then Jason sees Chip kind of, you know, I want to be careful with the two of you, but you kind of get the idea. Jason interferes, stops the encounter, and then Richard sees what's going on, and he rushes to Laura's side and tells Laura, I'm so sorry, I did not mean to put you guys together like that. Like, what? Did this happen when you guys were camp counselors together? However, we all know that they weren't camp counselors together. JR also sees this encounter and then it kind of rubs him the wrong way. So basically, Richard finally sees Chip as he is and comforts Laura, and Laura tells Richard that she loves him. The offshore drilling is stopped. JR makes an announcement stating that he's going to fire Chip and that the offshore drilling is no more, that they're going to drill on land. And it was brought to his attention that the research was not done correctly. And then we get an iconic line from Gary. He says it never rains in Southern California, which I love that line. I don't know about y'all, but I love that line. Uh-oh, I'm tired and my accent just came out. Sorry, guys. That's when JR gets his speech and then says about, Chip was withholding information. However, after JR fires Chip, then he goes up to Chip and tells him that he wants Chip to do interviews with the magazines and get that going so that they can talk about how JR kind of saved the environment by drilling on shore. JR and Gary are kind of getting along at this point, and JR asked to have lunch, and then Gary and Val both say that JR did not win. Oh no, JR said that they did not win, but that JR lost. And then Gary, Val, Karen, and Sid all said after JR walked away that they did win because JR is no longer going to drill offshore. This episode, that's the end of the episode. This episode was a great follow-up to the pilot. I thought that the pilot was a little bit more dry, but this episode has given it a little bit more context as to what is really going on. Just give me 1 second while I go with Snowball. Let's do this episode. Ow. You know what? This is what you get. I can't decide if I want to put them in this Kindle so I can finish my life. So, but thank you for bearing with me and what crazy noise on about. Sorry, Vicky. Anyway, so this episode, it was a great episode. It kind of brought into the fact that JR will be coming to KnotsLanding periodically. I thought it was a great way to intro that. So that is that's good for me. Sorry, like Cassie from Gossip running in the window, I talked my throat dry. Then with this episode, I did see the manipulation of JR trying to manipulate Karen into getting what he wants. And I think that again is a psychological point, and the fact that JR um, did ask Gary for alcohol when he knows that there's no alcohol in the house, and the fact that he is a recovering alcoholic. I just again so let's just talk about the relationships between the characters. So I love the relationship between Gary and Val. I think right now they are kind of solid. They're still trying to figure out how to trust one another. Um, they are just trying to navigate this whole new life. And I think that by them being in a new place, they can do that. However, I think that with JR showing up, kind of threw a wrinkle in that, and it kind of brought bad vibes. And we'll see that whenever JR does show up and Val does run into him, because I think there are some episodes where JR does show up, but he has no interaction with Val. But I think that this is where we kind of see the episodes. I kind of see Val and Gary come together a little bit as a team and work with Karen and Ted. And I think that this also solidifies the fact of what I said in my last live about the fact that Karen and Val's friendship is solid from day one. I kind of see their friendship as my friendship with my BFF. We met in high school. Well, no, we met in junior high. We became close, really, really, really close our senior year of high school. I went through a lot that year. And like I said in the last, I don't know if it was in this last stream, about how I had a staph infection, and she really helped me out with that. And then the next year is when I had my 10.5 hour surgery, and she was there for that as well. So, anyways, enough about my surgeries and my staph infection. That's for another episode. That's for another live stream. I think I'm going to talk a little bit more about that. Then we have Karen and Sid, and again, I can see the distance between the actors. I think that Michelle Lee wanted to do a lot of ad-libbing, and I did learn that Mr. Murray, Don Murray, did not want to ad-lib, just wanted to play it straight, just wanted to get through the episodes and not really play into the ad-lib. And I think that kind of goes with the time. That's kind of like what I found with the research, with the fact that this series started in the 70s, and so Sid is more or less like the coming out of the patriarchal times and just kind of being the mainstay, and just kind of wanting to protect his family. And it's kind of like he's just, I love rough men. I love rough men. I love rugged men. I love the way that that they can portray on scenes, but I don't get the same vibes with the character of Sid. I don't think that he's a rough and tough kind of guy that I would go for, and I think that it was just not a good vibe between Karen and Sid at the time. And then we'll get into that more in the next episode. So that's how I feel about Karen and Sid. I just think that their relationship is not really solid, and I think that they just have a hard time showing emotion, and whether that be with the actors just not having that great chemistry, or if it's just the way that it's written in the script, which, like I said, I did one that not Kevin, that Don Murray just wanted to stick to the script, did not play off of Michelle's ad libbing as much as she tried. Michelle really comes from Broadway, and they did have to ad lib a lot. Or she liked to ad lib a lot. Then we have Richard and Laura. Richard and Laura's relationship is a little bit more. It's not solid from day one. From day one. The fact that Laura had to go to Chip and she ends up sleeping with him to help Richard get his, get his advertise, get the Petroplex account. That says a lot, and we'll see that in episode 4. And I think it's episode 4. We'll see that more in episode 4 and how Laura is dealing with her marriage. And then there's other episodes coming up with Richard cheating on Laura, and we'll just talk about that when we get there. I did not see a lot of Ken and Ginger in this episode, so I can't really talk about them all that much. I do know that they were at the rally, but I did not really see them in this episode. I think that their scenes and their storylines come more in the later episodes and in season 2 and 3, but in this episode they weren't really featured as much. Hey Vicky, how's it going? Can you hear me and understand me okay? I just want to make sure that I'm very clear. Because I do see people coming in and out, so I just want to make sure that I'm okay. So now I am going to stop watching my YouTube channel, and I'm going to play one of my favorite scenes from season 1, episode 2. Let's do this, and I think that will be. I think that will be in soon of. Just bear with me. I'm just going back to season 2, episode 2, and I know what scene I want, and it's going to be a short scene. Okay, so we'll start here. I'll go ahead and turn my volume on. I'll wait until. Oh, it hit ads on TV, so just bear with me 1 second. I do apologize. So, do you guys, please leave, I know that there's only not a lot of people here, so just leave comments below if you have any questions or concerns or any ways that I can improve this. Like I said, I'm just waiting for the ads to be done with. And we're almost done. We're on ad 3 of 3. And it's going to be about... No, I'm sorry. We're on ad 2 of 3. And they have about 5 more seconds. And then we are on ad 3 of 3, and that's going to be about 15 seconds. I hate ads. I wish I could watch this without ads, but I can't afford to buy it on Amazon Prime, so I just watch it on Tubi. So go check it out on Tubi. Or Plex. I think it's on Plex. Okay, there we go. I'm going to stop it. Going to turn the volume up.
Hi.
Oh. Hi.
I just admired your garden before.
When?
Before I said hi. Say, listen, I could sure use somebody to show me around here in California. I don't get out here much.
Well, I'm sure Gary can show you. He knows this area pretty well.
I like somebody from California.
I'm from New York.
Best kind.
Mr. Ewing?
Yeah.
JR?
Yeah.
Buzz off.
That is classic Karen. I just love that. So that is just, just her being, just her being Karen. So yeah. Oh, whoa, sorry about that. So yeah. So that is season 1, episode 2. Now we're going to jump into season 1, episode 3. Now, this episode is a little bit more juicier, and I'm looking forward to talking about it. So, this episode starts off with Karen cooking in the kitchen, breakfast, and the boys are talking about Eric's girlfriend or girl that he likes, and Michael says, if it were me, I wouldn't mind this girl hanging all over me and touching me. And Eric is like, well, I just don't like it. It's just not for me. Let's see. And then Michael calls the girl that Eric likes rape, and then Karen just laughs out loud. And then Diana comes into the kitchen, and she is asking for rides for the field trip to the planetarium. I had to think about it. I was going to say the sanitarium, but that comes later in the episode, later in the season. Karen puts tomatoes on everyone's plate. However, there's a big uproar about tomatoes on the plates from everyone in the kitchen, even Sid. And then Eric and Michael's tomatoes drop on the floor. Karen's not happy. You can kind of tell that Karen is just kind of like going through the motions. She's not really feeling the love from her family. She feels that, from a psychological standpoint, she feels like she has nothing more to give, and that she's just living her life day in and day out and just going through the motion. I am with Karen. No tomatoes. I don't like tomatoes. I don't eat tomatoes. I don't do tomatoes. I will remove them from anything and everything. I don't know if I'm the only one, but that's just me. And then I get to, like I said, something is wrong with Karen. She's missing something. And so Karen, because she's so upset, she walks away from the kitchen. She goes to the window, and she looks out the window or the sliding door or whatever it is, and sees Gary and Val kissing goodbye. And that really breaks her heart. You can tell that it really breaks her heart because she wants that. She wants that feeling, and she just feels like Sid is not really paying attention to her. And Karen wants that feeling. She wants to be loved. She wants to be noticed. And I think that's true in any marriage that lasts a long time. Excuse me? I can really do a lot of psychoanalysis on this episode. So we're probably going to spend a little bit more time on this episode as well. Just getting the whole background of this episode. Oh, I didn't give you guys the title. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. The title of this episode is, let me go to all episodes, blah, blah, blah. Let me count the ways. So you kind of get the idea of what it is. So this episode is titled of Let Me Count the Ways. So then she asks Sid to go away for a couple of weeks, and then she says a couple of days. I think that oops, sorry. I think that Karen really wants to spend some time with her husband. And I think that if this were Mac would jump on it. Mac would jump on it. Oh, this isn't. What? Hold on. Just bear with me. I just want to check something out real quick. Because I am waiting for something to do. I just got an email that showed something. I just want to make sure that I'm seeing this correctly. Okay, yeah. Okay, so I'm good. Alright, let me just message my boss and let her know I got this. I got the towel. Got it. Oops, not got it. Got it. So much. Okay, I just had to let her know that I got what I needed to get. Okay, sorry about that. So she asked Sid to go away for a couple of weeks and a couple of days, and I just get this. It's just sort of it all for me. I don't know what it is about Sid. I just can't put my finger on it. I just don't know if it's because she is at that 70s mindset husband wanting to be the protector, but he doesn't show affection. And that's what I'm craving with this. And I think this is why I can't go. This is why I did have a hard time going back to season 1, because after watching the Karen and Mac episodes, I just can't. I just have a hard time with Sid. And I'm not sure if I'm the only one that feels that way. So anyway, so she asked Sid to go away, and Sid says that he can't, that he has 2 car lots full of cars that he can't sell, and it's going to be hard for him to go away. And then I wrote down on my notes, she means Mac, M-A-C-K, all in caps right now. That's what she's craving. She's craving that Mac of it all. Although she didn't know it at the time. But that's what she was craving. If I'm right, message me if you know who I'm talking about. And then Richard and Laura comes out of their house while they're talking about the school board. Richard is wanting to run for the school board, wants to get rid of a teacher. Come to find out that the teacher is Diana's teacher, who Diana loves and admires. And not in a romantic way, but just kind of like in a, the teacher is there for her. I had a couple of teachers like that when I was in school, both male and female, to where with whatever I was going through, I could go to them. I was in ROTC. I couldn't do a lot of the physical activities, so my the person in charge of ROTC really looked after me, and he made sure that I had other things to do so that I could stay in the program, because otherwise I wouldn't be able to stay in the program. I still had to go to the morning practices or whatever, even though I couldn't be a part of it due to my back issues. I couldn't do push-ups. I couldn't do the physical activities. We have like physical Fridays. I couldn't do all that. So basically I was kind of benched, if you will. I didn't have to do the parades and all that stuff. So, and then just to kind of bring it back to what Diana was how Diana was feeling my senior year in high school, I talked about this again, about the staph infection, and because of the staph infection, I ended up having 2 surgeries in the middle of the school year to try to figure out what was going on. And after the second surgery, it was so close to the end of the school year, and I was a senior, I was set to graduate, that my ROTC instructor and my computer instructor that I was close with, that I would always have lunch with, actually got together with the principal and vice principal and my mom and basically decided that it was a liability for me to continue to come to school, and that all my work was turned in, so basically my grades were prorated, and I didn't have to do any finals. The only thing I had to do was my senior portfolio, and then I lost that portfolio. I'm so mad at myself. But listen, sorry, I'm getting off track, but I just wanted to explain that I kind of know how Diana feels with this teacher. Like, you do create certain bonds with certain teachers, and other students have bonds with other teachers. So it's not always the same professor or the same teacher. So therefore, it kind of all comes together. So all that to say is I can understand where Diana and Karen is coming from. So Richard wants to send telegrams for the meeting, for the PTA meeting, to get everyone to come. And like I said, Richard wants to stop the teacher, which is Diana's teacher, and Sid makes a joke about it. Richard didn't think it was very funny. And then after Richard leaves, Laura asks Karen and Sid to really attend, and Karen says, okay, we'll be there. And then I can tell that as Sid is leaving, we're talking about the part of Sid and Karen right now. As Sid was leaving for the day, Karen leaned in to the car window wanting a kiss from Sid. However, Sid was not being responsive about it. Like, he just has his mind on work. And then we go straight into the PTA meeting. Starts, Karen's there, but Sid is not there. And then Richard asks for Karen to call Sid. And then Karen goes to call Sid. And then that's when Karen runs into the teacher in the hallway. However, she didn't know that it was the teacher. And he hits on her. And then as Richard is talking about the teacher's antics in the class, Richard and Mr. David Crane goes head to head, and Mr. Crane wants to defend himself. Like he says, isn't it part of our Constitution that we have the right to defend ourselves and to face our accusers? So he wants that opportunity to really defend himself and just talk about why he brings in people from the outside to talk about this. And I'm with Mr. Crane. Like, for this part, I'm all about Mr. Crane because I did experience that. I did have my oral maxillofacial surgeon come into my fourth grade class to talk to my classmates because I was having a rough year that year, being made fun of, people not understanding why I was the way that I was. I'm kind of glad that he did that because when I was in 5th grade, I ended up coming back to school with a walker. So I was glad that my oral surgeon did come and talk to my class because that did give the students that I was in class with, a heads up as to what I was going through. And so I kind of agree with Mr. Crane on bringing in, past students or, people within the community to talk to their students. And the students get a lot out of these talks. And we'll get into that later in the episode. Mr. Crane gets so fired up and that Richard wants to leave, and then Mr. Crane just stops everyone in their tracks and kisses Karen right on smack dab in front of everyone, including her husband. And Karen is stunned. Like, that is one of the first times I had seen Karen stunned. I don't know if that was ad-libbed or if that was really her being stunned or what the issue is. I haven't asked AI that question yet. And yes, I did the research on AI. And he does that to show that that's how he teaches. He shocks everyone. He doesn't go around kissing his students, but that's the kind of tactics that he uses to help guide students in the right way. And then, Karen is getting ready for bed. She's classic Karen when she wants to, have relations with her partner. She's getting ready. She has on a red nightgown. She's, putting perfume on and all that stuff. And however, she's upset that Sid is not upset about the kiss. And it's almost like Sid doesn't care about it. So she's surprised about that. However, she is preparing to try and have a little bit of relations with him. And then the next scene is we see that Karen is setting up for a romantic dinner. And Val comes in and Karen shows her everything, and Val is like, "Oh, is this your anniversary?" And Karen's like, "No, I'm just in the mood. I just want to, have dinner with my husband and, just have a night in." And Karen shows Val the dress, and Val thinks Karen and Sid are valid. But I kind of get the feeling that they're not. Really. I mean, in the next couple of episodes, we'll see that they try to do, but the connection just wasn't believable for me. And then Sid calls from, I guess, the auto shop or the dealership and says that he can't come home and that, so Karen's dinner plans and their night in are ruined. And then Val comes over and says, "Oh, I just got the same phone call from Gary." And they're both disappointed because Val says, I wasn't expecting him to work late either. So I think Val had something set up as well. She was kind of inspired by Karen. However, I think Val came over to comfort Karen. They go to, then they talk about going to the PTA meeting. However, they eat Karen's dinner first. And then they go to the school board meeting. And they both obviously changed into clothes that are not, they changed into more comfortable clothes or clothes that are more appropriate to wear out. Richard at the meeting, Richard says that he thinks that Mr. Crane has abused his teaching powers, which, again, I don't think he did. I don't think he has. And then Mr. Crane asks Karen's opinion and thinks that Diana was, and Karen stands up and says that, she respects Diana's opinion about Mr. Crane, and however, she doesn't want Mr. Crane to steer her daughter from talking to them about anything that she may do. So while she wants Diana to have her independence and be able to open up to Mr. Crane, she doesn't want Diana to not come to her if she needs her. And then Mr. Crane invites all the parents to come and sit in on the class. And then Val talks up. Oh, and then we go to a restaurant where Val and Karen are having coffee. And then Mr. Crane comes by, and then Val kind of makes a little bit of a mistake here, and I think she realizes near the end of the scene. Val talks up Karen to Mr. David Crane, and Karen talks about her closet, and they talk about peanut butter and how the peanut butter comes in a jar and how it's just all smooth, and then you kind of look at Val, and Val is second guessing her decision, oh, what have I done? And then the next scene we see is David calling Karen to make sure that she got home okay. And Karen is taken aback by Mr. Crane calling. And then we go into Mr. Crane's classroom. And Mr. Crane does have a former high school student who is going to be a teen mom. She talks about her life and about what she has gone through. The fact that her child's father is no longer with her, even though that he tried to stay with her. And she talks about how she was alone and she's an emancipated minor. And that she was supposed to be like some sort of like homecoming queen or something like that. I'm not exactly sure. And that because of her pregnancy and her due date, she's not going to be able to go to the homecoming thing. And Karen, I think, was stunned and touched by what was being said and the way that this student talked about her life. And then Karen wants to have Karen and David and Diana walk out of the classroom together, and they talk about, wanting to kind of gear up the campaign. I think this is when I learned that Mr. Crane is also running for the school board. So therefore, Karen wants to help to support Mr. Crane. And Karen says to Diana, hey, instead of going to the planetarium, how about we come back to the school and we make up posters to help support Mr. Crane. Oh, I don't have my journal up so I can look at comments. So that's done. And then they do come back later to the school and to help with the campaign poster. And then after Karen gets off the phone, Mr. Crane takes Karen by the hand and they go for a walk and ask her to lunch, where they talk a little bit about, the campaign. And however, Mr. Crane goes into flirting with Karen and asks her to come over to his house for lunch. And Karen tells him, no, I can't. I'm married. That's not who I am. And she declines. And then David asks Karen if she likes what she does. And Karen says, well, yes and no. Sometimes I just feel like, I'm just here. And then they make a wish and David kisses Karen again. However, this time it was a full-on I want you kiss. Karen and Diana return home to Sid sitting on the couch. And Sid is not happy about this because it's 10 o'clock at night. And Karen is upset that he's keeping track about how long she stays out, however. And she tells Sid, I stayed out later than this before. What's the deal? How come it's a big deal right now? And then Sid kind of starts a fight about it. And again, this is where I feel like Karen needs a break. Or Mac, capital M-A-C-K. She needs Mac in her life. That's just me. I think Mac could have come in. If Mac would have come in season 1, I think that he could have broken up Karen and Sid. That's just my opinion. I wish I could be in that fantasy world where we could make up like fantasy episodes, and maybe that's something that I'll look into doing. Like maybe kind of like make up a fantasy episode and make it to where Mac maybe I'll write a little blurb and maybe have Mac come in season 2 and kind of break up Karen and Sid. That's just how I would love, like fan fiction almost, right? How about that? I think I might do that. So then, like I said, Karen needs a break on Mac. And then Sid felt bad about the way that he treated Karen. So the next day, he comes home from work and he brings her a gift. And what do you know? He brought her pots and pans. I mean, come on, Sid, get a clue. Mac wouldn't have done this. Mac would have brought something different. Come on. And Karen is just, as she's showing Karen all the specialities of these passive plants and the fact that it's easy to cook and clean and all this stuff, Karen is just looking at him like, what in the world? What in the world is going on here? Why are you bringing me pots and pans? You have some. You don't need new ones. And then, and then that's when Karen goes upstairs. She gets ready and she calls, well, no, I'm sorry. She calls David and tells David that she needs to sue him. So she goes upstairs. You see her getting ready, just like how a couple of nights before she was getting ready to kind of have, just to kind of put her husband in the mood. So she's getting ready because she is thinking that maybe she's going to go and have an affair with David. However, we'll get there. But Karen was not happy about the passing Karen goes to David. However, you can tell that she really doesn't want to be there. She feels like this was a mistake. And then when Karen arrives, David was on the phone. David gets off the phone and tells Karen that, she's in the lead to win the school board election. And he comes up behind Karen, takes her shawl off, kind of sexually, and gives her a glass of wine. They drink the wine. She spills a little bit of the wine. He drinks the wine. They both drink the wine, and Karen goes, "Oh, this wine is good." Sid returns home to find Karen not there. However, Diana is there. Diana tells Sid that she puts away the pots and pans, and even Diana is like, "Why did you get her pots and pans? Come on, Dad. That's not what you get someone." And then David walks into the bedroom, starts pulling down the sheets and covers, and sorry about that, and tells Karen that he wasn't sure how she would want the bed to look when she arrived, and then in the meantime he says, "I'm nervous," and Karen is like, "Well, David, I'm not nervous." And Karen tells David that, she's not nervous because nothing's going to happen, that she doesn't want to be intimate with him. She doesn't want to go to bed with him. She tells David that that's not who she is, which is classic Karen. Although I still have that theory about Mac. That, this isn't who she is and that she can't stay. But, and she tells David that she feels unseen. She felt unseen. She felt like she was just living life day by day, going through the motions, and that this is not who she is. And then she tells David that, she's a married woman, she has a family she needs to go back to. So Karen goes home. She sees Richard in the driveway, and Richard is taking down the signs. We all learned that he lost the election. And Richard says, I'm a better loser than I am a winner, because if I would have won, you guys would have never heard the end of it. She goes home to Sid and her family. Oh, and this is real important. She tells David, I'm going to go back a minute. She tells David that she hasn't felt like a lover lately. She feels like she's not seen by her husband, and that David did pull that out of her, and that she does now feel seen as someone that is lovable and attractive and can catch the eye of any man, which I think is amazing. Oh, sorry about that. I have a roommate that lives upstairs, and the dog is going nuts. So she goes home, she talks to Richard, and then she sees Sid, and Sid's in the garage starting to tinker with his car equipment. And then she tells him, "Oh, I'm sure that it will come together once it's done, but not right now." And she grabs Sid by the hand, and then they go. So this is where I would have expected a kiss, but they didn't kiss. Then they walk through the garage into the kitchen, and then we all know what happens from there. Or it's implied as what's happened from there. And I think, the intimate scenes between Karen and Sid or Michelle and Don are a little bit different because of the censorship at the time of the episode. I think that they didn't have a lot to play with as far as the the goals. And again I go back to the fact that Michelle did want to ad lib and she didn't feel like she had that partner with her to do that ad libbing. So therefore, I think that that's where the payoff is not as big as it was with Nick. And before I watched season 4, I liked Sid and Karen, but now I like Nick and Karen more. So let's talk about this episode. I found this episode to be a little bit more intriguing. I found it to be shows a little bit more about Karen and how she's feeling. I really focus on Karen. And so let's just talk a little bit about that. Karen and Sid, they had difficulties during this episode. Sid was preoccupied with his work and the dealership and all that stuff, but all Karen wanted was to be seen and heard and loved and just wanted that from her husband, and she wasn't getting it. So when David Crane, gave her that option, that's when she kind of started to come out of her shell a little bit more, and that's when the thought of straying and having an affair entered her mind because David made her feel seen and heard. But like I said, in true Karen fashion, she didn't go through with it as much as she wanted to at the time. I think Sid being a jerk in this episode kind of did pay off because we did get the ending of the implied that they went upstairs and they were intimate, and that's what happened there. I think that and again, we didn't see Kenny or Ginger a lot this episode. I think that again their scenes will become more evident in the later episode. And we really didn't see a lot of Gary and Val either, so I can't really comment on Gary and Val. We did see a little bit of Laura and Richard, but again, this episode really focused on Karen. Oh gosh, I almost said Mac. Dixie, what am I doing? I just want Mac on the screen. Come on. Karen and Sid and Richard and the arc of David and his feelings for Karen and wanting to be with Karen. So that's where I land on this episode. I think I did explain a lot of the psychology as we went through the episodes, and I think as the episodes have more substance that we will do that more. I think the next episode is with Laura and her straying, and I want to say there's something else in that episode, but I'm not sure what it is. So, hi to the third person who joined. I know one person who's here, and I know I'm here, but I don't know who the third person is. I really wish that you guys would comment in the live chat so that we can, if you have any questions or concerns or thoughts or feelings, I would love to interact with you all. I do get messages from my friend via Facebook, when I ask questions. So to that person, do you have any questions, Vicky, or concerns that maybe you want to talk about? If you want to bring it up on Messenger, I will be more than happy to answer those before I go into the soon, my favorite scene. And while I'm doing that, while I'm waiting to see if she has any questions, I will pull up the scene. And to the third person who's here, if you have any questions, please. Okay, thanks. I hope it's okay that I ask you questions while I'm live, Vicky, because they're kind of gonna be. I think they're gonna be my helper with this, and I hope that's okay. I think because you help me interact. Do you have any thoughts though? Like any thoughts on the episode? Oh, you like the idea of the fantasy episode? Yeah, I think I might run that by you as well because I think that maybe we can come up with something together. Do you think that the man, Vicky, you're gone? Oh no, you're not. No, you're not. Do you think that the idea of Matt coming in, if he would have come in like on the end of season one, beginning of season two, that he and Karen would have gotten together in those episodes, or do you think that Karen would have stayed with Mac? Um, there I go again with Sid. Do you think the writers would have let Karen stay with Sid, or do you think that they would have broken them up and Karen would have gone to Mac? I want to hear your thoughts on that. While I pull up the episode or the clip. You think she would have stayed with Sid? I don't know. I think because Kevin Dobson and Michelle Lee had such great on-screen chemistry that I yeah, she did seem faithful to him, but I think that they would have brought them together sooner. If Kevin Dobson had ended up on the show sooner, I think that they would have come together a lot sooner. I just think that that's just my opinion. But I'm gonna I think I am gonna write a fantasy episode just kind of maybe read it out loud on the live sometime once we get that all together. So Vicky, can you yes. And when we get to those seasons, especially seasons 4 through 9, I have a lot of background info on that because I did a lot of research. The one thing for everyone to know is that I am what's called a high sensitive person. And basically, what that means is I don't know if I explained this in my video of how I found Michelle Wu, but basically, what that means is I have neurons where I can put myself into places, into the shoes of other people, or like my brain automatically puts me in anybody else's shoes. And I'm not saying that I feel what the other person is feeling. I just take on their emotions, and that goes for TV shows as well. Like if there's a high intense scene, I tend to put myself in that scene. Yes, I'm very much an empath. I am very much an empath. And that has something to do, and I've come to learn that that has something to do with my disorder and all the surgeries that I've had. Is that my brain and my spine and my neurologically, I am wired differently than what a normal person would be wired. And the fact that I do have hearing loss, my brain and eye problems, my brain has been wired or been made up of, and this happened in the womb. It has been wired to where I can feel things on a more deeper level. And with all the surgeries that I've had, and all the length of time, like I was under anesthesia for 8 to 10.5 hours at a time, that messes with my brain. So therefore, that empath or that high sensitive person has increased. And I don't want to bring up the Lori Vallow Devo of it all, but when she talks about the veil being lifted, it's kind of like that. But I'm not saying that I'm LDS. I'm not LDS. It's just that my brain was wired differently, and even more so with everything that I've been through, along with the grief of losing my dad. So you put that, I was 12 when I lost my dad. So you put that with the fact that I lost my dad, went through major surgery even before my dad passed, and after my dad passed. My my brain is completely different, and my spinal cord, my spine, the the um the 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 what's the word I'm looking for? The signals that go from my brain to my spine, and I just feel intensity. I just feel it. I just feel the emotions. I just feel everything, and I think that once we get to season 4 and 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9, we'll talk a little bit more about that because I do have a lot of behind the scenes about that. Because I've done a lot of research with it, with how I feel with Mac and Karen and how they make me feel home, especially after Sid does die. I'm not giving anything away. But yes, I am an empath, and I just feel things on a more deep level, and I think that that's why also too, within season 1, I feel for Karen more than any of the other characters because I do feel like Karen is home for me. Karen is stability for me. And it's not even so much Sid, it's Karen of it all. So that's why I feel like I can connect with Karen, and I can almost put myself and her, like my mirror neurons are going off. Like I can really feel their scenes, and we'll talk about more about that when you get there. But let me see what oh this one. Sorry, something just popped up. I don't know how. Um, yeah. So anyway, so I do think that if Kevin Dobson would have come on the scene a lot sooner, that they would have that they could have broken up Sid and um that they could have broken up Sid and Karen. I think um uh, I think that would have happened. I think that they would have broken them up. I think that there would have been a catalyst of the Sid and Karen relationship, just because I think that again Sid was so structured and didn't really want to pay attention to it all. So I'm pulling up the scene. Ricky, do you have any other thoughts, concerns, or questions, or anything like that you want to bring up, or that you want to discuss while I get the scene ready? I'm just trying to figure out what scene I want from this episode. Um, let's see. I think I want the scene where. Okay, I just thought I would ask while I'm getting this scene ready. I think I know what scene I want. Um, just because I think that a lot of my scenes that I pick are going to be out Karen. Just because, like I said, I just relate to her more. I definitely do see myself as a very similar personality to Karen and Michelle Lee. I don't know if that's if that's what others see, but I do see myself being a little bit more like her. I don't want to. This this is gonna be in YouTube's fair use policy, and I'm gonna be stopping it because it is gonna be a long scene. I'm gonna be stopping it and talking about it. So we'll start from here, and then we'll break it up. We'll talk about it, and then Vicky, jump in if you have any questions about it.
Everything as if I hadn't made it at all, but then I realized that would be hypocritical. I always make my bed, and I think I'm talking too much.
It's okay, David.
I'm not used to being so nervous. Well,
I'm not nervous. I thought I would be, but I'm not.
Right there, that's where I think that Karen, that line is a Karen line. She realizes that she cannot be unfaithful to her husband no matter what. But again, I think that if Mac was there, Kevin Thompson, I think that wouldn't have been an issue. So let's continue. And again, this is in YouTube's fair use policy.
I can't do it, David.
Karen,
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. But this isn't who I am.
yes it is.
The fact that Karen says that she's sorry says a lot about her character, and the fact that she does care about other people. And I think that genuinity of it all, I think that that's where myself and Karen are very alike. Like, I care about people. I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. I just want to make sure that everyone is okay. And I think that comes to the fact that I had to make sure that everyone was okay. So let's continue. Again, YouTube's fair use policy. Yes. She does have good moral compass, and I think that shows off in all the episodes. And I think Michelle Wu does as well. I haven't heard any. I only have heard good things about Michelle Wu and her interactions with her fans. So let's continue. Again, YouTube's fair use policy.
Karen, you're just scared. That's okay.
No, I'm not scared. That's why I know I can't do it. If I was scared, my feet would be cold, my mouth would be dry. Oh, I'd know it. I'd say to myself, Karen, you're scared. The only way you can handle it is to get on with it. And I would.
Again, that's where I think that I know so much like Karen, even though I've never been married, never had a serious boyfriend or anything like that. I just feel like any type of situation where I feel scared or nervous, that's when I'm more apt to do things. Like Vicky, like this. Like when I went down to Tennessee and for the first time, and I drove down by myself, and I went to the 4th of July concert at the Loretta Lynn Ranch, and that is where I met my child. And I might do a video about that as well. I might do a live, and Vicky, I do want to include you on that as well. So if I go live about that, will you watch and be a compass for me? Thank you. And again, this is on YouTube fair use. Thank you,
Being
Vicky.
scared is what brought me here, though. I admit that.
Scared of what?
The me I see in the mirror every day.
You're beautiful.
Thank you, but it's not about beauty, it's about...
This is what I was talking about, to where I think that, this is when Karen felt like she wasn't being seen or heard or loved, or not just by herself, but also by her children as well. Again, YouTube's fair use.
Time. The time I see in the mirror and feel in my days rush by so fast. Sometimes, recently, I get scared by it.
I constantly feel like this. I feel like I'm just going day by day, and just constantly. And I think that's because I'm not ashamed. I am 45. I feel like I'm older than that because of everything I've been through. I've always been old, older than I look, um, older in my brain. I always say that I have an adult brain before I even was a teenager. Before I was even 12, I feel like I had an adult brain with everything that I've been through, and the loss of my dad actually made that even more so because I had to be strong for my mom, not only because of the loss of my dad, but because of all the surgeries that I had afterwards. Like it really scared her, and instead of me showing my fear and right before surgery, I had to look at my mom and say, "Hey, mom, it's going to be okay." Imagine being a 14, 15, 16-year-old girl doing that for her mom. That kind of shifts the dynamic of the parent-child relationship. And again, that's where I think my brain developed a lot quicker than my chronological age, because my dad was the anchor for my mom. My dad was the one that cared for me after my surgeries, and then all of a sudden, like out of nowhere, we lost my dad, and my mom no longer had that anchor. And we'll talk about the similarities between my mom and dad and Karen and that, and we'll also talk about the similarities between my dad and Gary as well.
I'm scared I'm gonna miss some.
Oh, sorry, again, this is in accordance with YouTube's fair use policies.
In the rush. Like I missed being a student radical.
But you made up for it.
Oh, no, never. I just did something else instead. I became a defender of noble causes. But what do you do instead of being a lover lately?
Again, this is where I feel like Karen and I are very similar. Like, I started out thinking I was going to be a nurse, but then that didn't turn out due to my physical disabilities. And then again, with the fact that I became a social worker. I was a case manager for 2 different community mental health agencies here in Wayne County, Michigan. And then I left that after the sudden loss of my mom, even more sudden than my dad. And I'll talk about that as well in a different video. And then then I went to work at an adult duty program. That kind of didn't work out. I kind of butted heads with the owner of the program, so we kind of just left. And I still talk to her. It's just we weren't good working partners. And then I went into medical billing and coding, and that's kind of what I'm doing now on the side. I just can't find a real job right now, so I'm just kind of helping my friend with her medical billing company. So this is kind of like where I feel like I'm a lot like Karen. Hey, Vicky, do you see the similarities a little bit?
I feel like
Oh, sorry again, this is under YouTube's fair use policies.
a wife and mother, a good friend, committed citizen, but less and less often like a lover.
Thanks.
So when I look at myself and I see a line that wasn't there a year ago, or feel a little droop where there used to be firmness, I get scared.
I feel like this. Even though I'm not married, never had a boyfriend or anything like that, never been anyone's lover, I just feel like, I am getting older. My baby face is going. My skin, while it's soft, I can just see. My family has aging spots, so I can kind of see those come in. Again, I'm 45 years old. I'm right in almost halfway to 50. I do see wrinkles. I can't sleep at night. Like, I didn't fall asleep until 4 o'clock, until almost 5 o'clock this morning. So therefore, I just kind of feel like Karen in this way to where, like, I just, you know, I don't know. I just feel like we're getting over. Again, YouTube's fair use policy. Putting this under YouTube's fair use policy.
Scared because midlife is coming. Oh, God, I hate that.
Midlife, right there. That's exactly what I'm talking about. That's where I'm at. I'm right at the midlife. Oh, sucks getting old, doesn't it? Okay. Again, under YouTube's fair use policy. To the second person who comes in, please feel free to comment on the live stream. I would love to hear your comments and if you have any questions or concerns as I'm playing this clip of Michelle Lee talking to David Crane. And again, this is under YouTube's fair use policy.
And that implies more endings than beginnings. That's where I was when I met you, David. You made me feel younger and more vital than I felt in a long time. You were so appealing and so terrific that I thought if this young and...
I wish I could find someone like this. I just need to find someone. I wish that I could find someone who would find me attractive and just want to be with me. But alas, probably not going to happen, but that's okay. And again, this is under YouTube service. I'm going to actually play this out. I'm going to stop and talk about it because I think that this is important. It just really shows what a real marriage is, and I think that that's what needs to be shown as we're doing this. Again, YouTube's fair use policy.
If a terrific person likes me, it must be because I'm young, and I'm sexy, and I'm terrific.
You are, Karen. That's why...
Why we have to become lovers?
Not why we have to. Why we should.
It's not fair to you. I know. But you did give me something that I needed. The offer. And I thank you for that.
I love Karen's moral compass. If I was in a marriage and I had the opportunity to go and have an affair with someone, that I would feel the same way. I would feel that moral compass because I can't even do anything that's against the law without feeling horrible, bad about it. And I kind of feel like that's the way that we should be. But I think in today's society, we're not getting that. We don't have this moral compass. We have people going around committing crimes, committing whatever, and not having a care in the world. I mean, I cannot tell you how much true crime content I consume. However, I'm going to step away from that, and I'm going to start focusing on my own YouTube channel. And again, this is under YouTube fair use policy.
For the way you made me feel. That I can't cross that threshold. That would turn me into somebody else. And the best part, for me, that's come out of all of this, is I've gotten back to liking myself pretty much the way I am.
This is where I struggle. This is where I think that Karen and I do not agree with. I like myself. I just don't like my looks. That's all there is to it. I think that that's probably why I'm single and why I probably will never get married because of my looks. So there's that. I think that I am a good person. I think that I'm very empathetic. Oh my gosh, I got the greatest compliment yesterday on a comment that I made and on my friend's Facebook post. And she said, I don't know if you remember me or not, but we met at Soul Shine about 2 years ago, and Dr. G was there, and they were getting their Botox for their migraines, and I just remember you and their laugh, and their laugh is so infectious, and it was so cute, and it was so positive. I think that's what I have. It's my personality, and I think that's what a lot of people see in me. They see the inside of me as opposed to the outside of me. Because I know that I'm not good looking. I know that I'm not one. I know that I am one in a million, but I know that I'm one in a million that looks different. And I know that I think that my personality and the fact that I love and trust, well, no, I don't trust, what I love so deeply and so hard is because of, thank you, Vicky, is because of the fact that I, it's who I am on the inside. And I think that that's why, Vicky, like you said, I think that's why people do see me as beautiful, and why my laugh is so infectious, and the fact that my laugh makes someone else feel that way, that just makes me feel so good. And I needed that comment, and I got that comment after I started this whole YouTube channel, this whole YouTube journey with KnotsLanding. That kind of also gave me the courage to continue this. And who knows, this may come of nothing, but I'm doing this for me. I'm doing this for one, not only to give myself something to do and a hobby, and if something else comes of it, great. I would love to start a company that is hashtag stay golden. I would love to do that. I have sweatshirts on that, that was given to me by a friend with that. Because what I have is very similar to golden heart or Trigger-Collins syndrome. So I would love to make something of this, but if I don't, that's okay. This is for me. This is my hobby. This is, I'm tagging. Oh, I forgot to mention. I can't believe I forgot to mention this. Vicky, you need to start reminding me. I forgot to mention that in the description box below, I had tagged the podcast We're Not Done Yet and the YouTube channel Seaview Circle. The reason why I'm doing that is I feel like I need to support them, and I want to get them out there. I want Miss Lou, Miss Mills, and Miss VanArk to have more and more people that check out the podcast. And who knows if this reaches other people and they see it or they don't see it. I just want them to know that where to go to get behind the scenes information from the actresses themselves, and sometimes from the actors that they bring on. Like, I know they had the actress that played Ginger. They had the actress. They had exactly, Vicky. They had, is it Linda Gray, who plays Sue Ellen? I know her first name is Linda, but I'm losing sight of her last name. I want to say it's Linda Gray, but I'm not sure. They had Morgan Fairchild, whom I love also. Oh, and recently, this last episode that they had on, I want you all to go check it out, is Miss Susan Lucci. Those are the three queens. Miss Michelle Lee, Miss DonnaMills, and Miss Susan Lucci, Erica Kane herself. You cannot get a better group of women together. I just wish that Miss VanArk was there. And if they see this, and I know that they probably won't, but Miss VanArk, I hope you get well soon and you can return to the podcast. And I also want to shout out a very special happy birthday to the birthday people, to the June birthdays of KnotsLanding. That's Michelle Lee, JoanVanArk, Constance Nikas, and Ted Shackelfield. I hope you all had a great birthday. All right, let's continue. And again, this is under YouTube Fair News. Vicky, did you have something else to say? Thank you so much for your comments. I really appreciate it, and the fact that you're helping me out on this. Let's continue this. I like having you in the background.
But you haven't mentioned your husband or fidelity or the things I thought you'd mention.
I didn't have to mention them. They're part of the me that's going home to them. Thank you, David.
It could have been wonderful.
It was wonderful.
Okay, that scene was amazing. Now I'm gonna go to the next scene. I'm gonna go to. I don't want to go.
Is it a 19?
And again, this is the scene that I was talking about. This is the very last scene of the episode. And this is where Karen comes home to Sid. And again, this is under YouTube's fair use policy.
Hey. Hi.
You can always tell what Karen is thinking by her voice. Am I right or am I right? You can tell when she gets, and again, I think that that's part of Michelle Lee's ad-libbing. I think that, the way that she played this character and encompassed this character is amazing. I think what I'm going to do also, right, Vicky, I think I'm also going to do a review. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually play. Oh no, I don't want to get in trouble. But I think I am going to review the Daddy West story. And I think I'm going to pull some scenes from there that I think that Michelle did really well. And we'll go over those. Vicky, would you be open to that, to helping me with that and doing in the background? I think that that's something that I think I want to do. Is I want to go through that movie and just really pick apart her good scenes. And I'm going to watch it, write notes, kind of like what I do with KnotsLanding. And then I'm going to, thank you. And then I want to play some of her best scenes. And then again, it's going to all be under fair use policy. I'm going to not do a lot of scenes from the movie. I'm just going to really talk about them. Because I know that Michelle Lee owns the rights, so I don't want to get a copyright strike from her. Because that's all I would need is a copyright strike from Michelle Lee. That would be great. The Michelle Lee Productions. And then also, I want to go through her other movie, and I did find that When No One Would Listen. And I think that that would be a good movie to go over because that really has a lot of what we're seeing nowadays in today's society, and the fact that stand your ground law, or is it stand your ground or make my day law, that came out because of the true story that movie is based on. I don't know if you've ever watched that movie or not. It's called When No One Would Listen. It's with Michelle Lee. And her real life ex-husband plays her husband in the movie as well. That's a cool fact about that. So, yeah, I don't want to get a copyright strike from this, so that's all I do. Okay, let's continue with this last scene. And again, this is under fair use policy.
What you doing?
I'm tinkering with this engine. Using parts made from these lightweight alloys.
Sounds baffling.
Well, the lighter the weight, the better the fuel consumption. I'll bet I can make it.
Sid is so clueless. And how clueless can you be? This, oh my gosh, just the Karen Mac of it all. I want to talk about a specific scene, but I can't yet because it's not until season 9. Oh, It's the Mac for me. It's the Mac and Karen of it all for me. It's kind of like a similar way that Karen went into the garage that Mac comes into the garage. If you know, you know. Anyways, this is Sid. This is where Sid makes me so angry. He's not picking up on the cues. Come on, Sid, pick up on the cues. And again, this is her ad-libbing. I think that she really did a lot of ad-libbing, even though that Mr. Don Murray wanted to play the character straight and by the script. I think that Michelle ad-libbing really frustrated him, and I think that that kind of took away from the chemistry as well. I don't know, Vicky, if you saw that or not. I'm just kind of bringing out some of the things that I've seen.
Baby do about 50 miles on the gallon.
I'll bet you could. But not right now.
There it is again. And then he looks at her. I know I don't have it on camera, but that's just because I don't want to camera up, because I don't want to have negative attention. I don't want to get hate for the way that I look. So therefore, I'm not going to camera up. But Sid looks at her like, what are you talking about? Come on. He still doesn't have any clue. Oh, again, under YouTube's fair use policy. She takes Sid by the hand, he looks at her with a glaring look, and then Karen gives her a nod, and then they go off through the garage, into the kitchen, and we know that it is implied that they go upstairs. So those are my two scenes. I wanted to play the scene where Karen moves David's room or apartment, and then into where Karen returns home and goes home to Sid. And really, how this whole episode is about what Karen wants and what Karen needs. And this whole episode, the things about it is, I think that Karen just wants to be loved. She wants a break. She wants her husband to notice her, but she's just too preoccupied. And we'll see that throughout the season, even though that is stated or implied that she loves Karen with all of his heart, but he's just not really in tune with everything. And again, I think that Sid and Karen fight more than Karen and Max did. Karen and Max fights were more passionate, and they ended up ending very quickly, whereas Sid and Karen's fights are not that way, and they can just drag on. Am I wrong? I'm not right. Anyways, I'm not seeing any chats on the live feed. Are there any other questions or concerns, Vicky? Do you have anything else that you think I should add to it, or any concerns? Any thoughts on what I said about Karen? I just want your feedback on what I said about Karen and about her just needing a break and all that good stuff. I'm just waiting for my. You're gonna be like an behind the scenes co-host, if you don't mind. I love the fact that you're here, and I would love it for you to kind of do the same thing with Big Dreams and Broken Hearts, which I might do a little bit later. And also When No One Would Listen. I don't know if I'm going to do When No One Would Listen first, or if I'm going to do Big Dreams and Broken Hearts first. I think that those are two of her best movies. I know that she did other Lifetime movies, I think, back in the 90s. And again, I just want to say that those two movies that I just mentioned, I watched probably before I should watch them. So I will have a different perspective. And I think too, we'll go over the Betty Braddock story. I think I want to do that one as well. So I kind of want to do movies that I think will make a difference I would do Coal Miner's Daughter, but I think that would get like a lot of copyright strikes, and I really don't want to. If somehow I can get permission to do Coal Miner's Daughter, I will. But I feel safer about doing. Okay, let me know. Let me know when you watch it, because I'm thinking within the next couple of days or so, I'm going to kind of do that. I think I'm going to do that more in the evenings. Maybe Wednesday night, or I don't know what your schedule is. But let me know if maybe Wednesday evening will work for you. Like we'll do the KnotsLanding episode if I can at 12, and then we'll do maybe the Dottie Western either Wednesday or Thursday night. Then that way that'll give you, because I have to rewatch it too and write notes on it, and that's gonna take a long time. But yeah, I feel safer to do the Dottie West story because, like I said, I'll do small clips so that I don't get copyright strikes from Michelle Lee Productions, who owns the copyrights. And also, which I think is pretty cool, the fact that Michelle Lee was like a huge part of that, and the fact that Dottie West's daughter was a huge part of that is amazing. And there's a little bit of behind the scenes of that movie as well that I'll bring to you all. So unless is my analysis right so far with these two episodes? I just want to know what you think of my analysis as I'm psychoanalysis. A lot of these episodes moving forward will be more psychoanalytical. Okay. Will be more psychoanalytical because I think as we get into the first season, it becomes more in depth, and I think that some of these episodes. Thank you. Am I right on track with the psychoanalysis that I'm doing? My co-host in the background. I think I'm just gonna name you that. My co-host in the background. So moving forward, I think that these episodes are instead of calling you by your name, I'm gonna call you co-host in the background. Because I just don't want to put your full name out there. You know, I'm not saying your last name, but I don't want to put your first name out there all that much. Even though I did just hold off the show. Anyways, these episodes are going to be more psychoanalytical, and they're probably going to take a little bit more time. I mean, I'm almost at the 2-hour mark. I'm just kind of chatting just to get to 1 hour and 55 minutes. So, Vicky, do you have any? Oh, sorry, co-host in the background. Do you have any final thoughts, concerns about this episode? And then, I'm just kind of. I know you're the only one watching, so thank you. But this will help me out, you know, like when this goes live, then people can see that I'm not talking, that I am talking to someone. So for those of you that are watching on the replay, I'm not chatting with someone who is not chatting in the live chat, but on Facebook Messenger. So she is kind of like helping me, guiding me, and answering my questions, and kind of just going off on the background. So she's gonna be my co-host in the background moving forward, just because she is there. So also don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel, share it out on all platforms. Also, go check out the links in the description box below. as the We're Not Done Yet podcast, the Seaview Circle YouTube channel, and I also included my friend's link website to her Epic IV Hydration med spa in California if you're in the Anaheim, California area. And again, I don't think that this is going to go out to a lot of people, but I just wanted to make those who are in the area aware of my friend's med spa. That's actually who I'm helping out with the medical billing coding program. Yes, we love the KnotsLanding show. So I think moving forward, I think we're going to do movies that make a difference. We're going to start out with Big Dreams and Broken Hearts because I think that makes a statement. Then we're going to do When No One Would Listen. Then I want to do the Betty Broderick story. Dickie, our co-host in the background, I don't know if you've ever seen that. If you haven't, let me know, and I will send you the links for those. For this 2-part series movies. And then I think I want to do a comedy series. So if you guys have any comedy suggestions, please leave them in the comment section down below. And I would love. Oh, okay, good, Vicky. So if you want to watch that one as well, and then maybe we'll do that one. Because for me, it's the psychology of it all for the Betty Broderick story. It's the psychology of it all. And I don't think that that story gets. I mean, it gets talked about a lot, but I don't think it gets psychoanalyzed a lot enough. And with death with Meredith Baxter. I don't think that one gets psychoanalyzed a lot or talked about a lot, and if it does, it's more of the on-screen and the Dear John. The Dear John show that was on that covered. I don't know if it was Dear John. That was the episode. That was the series. I'm not sure. Yes. And then we'll come up with a list offline maybe of other movies and TV shows that maybe I can do. Alright, well, I'm going to end it here. If you're watching on the replay, please look at my banner and turn on the closed captions. I haven't figured out how to turn on the closed captions yet on the actual live. I wish I could. So maybe when I set up the next stream, they'll be there. So I hope you all have a great Sunday. And who knows, maybe I might be back with something else a little bit later to talk about. Just because I kind of put in a couple of Easter eggs of things that I wanted to talk about and that I kind of brought up in this episode of the breakdown of KnotsLanding episodes. And I hope you guys join me tomorrow at 12 noon Eastern Standard Time. And again, leave the comments down below, like this video, subscribe, and share it out. Have a great Sunday, everyone. Goodbye. And thank you, co-host in the background.